welcome to day 5 of our Strong and Lean Challenge. So today's workout is an active recovery and we're going to do Pilates, okay? So 2 things to really think about when we do Pilates is our pelvic placement and our cervical spine, okay? So let's start with our pelvic placement. I'm going to slide my mat in here so you can see me. So pelvic placement, on our body, on our pelvis, we have 2 major bony landmarks. We have our ASIS, or our anterior superior iliac spine, which if you bring the crook of your hands on top of your hip bones so that they rest on the top of your iliac crest, and you allow your fingers just to drop forward. If you slide your fingers around a little bit, you'll find these little bony bumps that stick out further than any other bumps on your pelvis, okay? So those are your ASIS, and they should be level, okay? Now on the back of our body, so they're not tilted to one side or the other, on the back of our body, we have our PSIS, which is the opposite of that. So that's generally where those little dimples are, you know, at the top of the glutes, you have these little back dimples, and you'll feel the little bones sticking out, or if you have a lot of posterior back fat, then you'll see the little dimples going in. So that's our posterior superior iliac spine. So those are the 2 spinal crests on our iliacus, okay? So in neutral, if we are upright, those 2, I'm going to use my shirt to landmark them. Those 2 bony landmarks are horizontal, so they're parallel to the floor. Now in women, we have a slight anterior rotation, just it helps facilitate the hips opening for childbirth. So it's about 5% or less. Anything more is an extended lordosis, okay? And anything less is sway back, yeah, or a full spinal kyphosis. So we want to be horizontal or just slightly tipped forward. For men, it's horizontal. So when we are in that horizontal, that stacked position, and we draw our rib cage down, then we connect our transversus muscles, which is this big sheet of muscle that wraps all the way from the center of our spine into the middle aponeurosis of the abdomen, okay, or the center gap of your 6-pack. Okay, now usually if we tilt forward into a lordosis, our rib cage lifts and we lose this connection with the transversus and our belly pops forward. And a lot of people think that they have a fat belly because they get this bulging here, but actually it's because you're not controlling the upper obliques to pull the rib cage down and keep that spine in neutral. So it's really important to pull the ribs down, and you can see that difference. That's me with my ribs relaxed and popped. That's me with my ribs down, and I've instantly just changed the shape of my spine and of my abdomen. Okay, now if I'm lying on the floor, then to be in my neutral, first I'm going to connect my pelvis. So the hip bones, those ASIS, and your pubic bone, we all know where our pubic bone is, need to be on the same horizontal plane. So if you tilt your pelvis forwards and backwards, so that's backwards, that's forwards anteriorly, then you want to find that spot where your pubic bone and your hip bones are horizontal or perpendicular, horizontal to the floor. So if I put a glass of water on my abdomen, it wouldn't spill. So if I tuck my tail under or move to my imprinted position or my brace position, I'm going to pull my ribs down first. So now my spine is in a perfect neutral. Now if I want to move into an imprinted position, I'm going to tuck my tail under. As I tuck, that glass of water tilts and I'm going to spill some water. If I'm in a lordotic, so that's back in my neutral, if I'm in a lordotic position or an anterior tilt, tilting the pelvis forward like we do in our cat-cow stretches, then I'm going to spill that water forward. And my rib cage is going to lift no matter how strong my abdominals are. So we want to get our pelvis in that neutral so that we're not going to spill the water. We pull the rib cage down. When we have that rib cage down and the pelvis in neutral, we have this slight gap between our spine and the floor and our lower back. But then we feel the whole rib cage and the scapula connected with the floor until we get to our cervical spine. So our cervical spine has that matching lordotic curve to the lower lumbar spine. So our cervical spine needs to always follow the shape of the spine. So when we come into flexion, or this is flexion, we're flexing the spine forward. then our eye gaze needs to follow the line of the spine. So think of it as changing a traffic light. If you reach your fingertips right up towards the ceiling, and your eye gaze is going to follow your fingers. So you go from a red to amber to green, okay? And green is when you lift up and your eye gaze is still looking towards those fingers. So my head is over my shoulders right now, is framed between my shoulders. My pelvis is in neutral because my feet are down and I'm in a closed kinetic chain. And I'm reaching those fingertips away from me. Okay, if I am not in neutral or I'm not using my abdominals, I'm just going to be pulling with my neck and I'm going to be really straining the scalenes on the front of my throat. So you have to find that lift in the abdomen, and that cervical spine needs to follow the thoracic spine. That also works in extension. So when we come into our cobras and we're down on our belly, if we just lift with the head, it's not good for our neck. So you want to lengthen the spine away from the floor, lengthen the sternum, and your cervical spine is following the line of that thoracic spine. So we're creating a lordotic curve in our thoracic spine, and the cervical spine is following it. It's not jamming up and trying to lift us up further, or we're going to go down into that lower lumbar spine and we're going to injure ourselves. So the cervical spine always follows the line of the thoracic spine, and your imprint and your neutral are important. Pelvic placement is important. Our transverses only work when we're in neutral. So in a closed kinetic chain, we always want to be neutral. If I flex up, my lower pelvis is not shifting at all. Now, if I open that chain up, an open kinetic chain, lift my feet off the floor, then I can maintain that neutral spine if I'm not moving because I have strong abdominals. I may be able to send my legs on a long lever and keep that connection because of my abdominal strength. But if I can't, then that lower back is going to want to lift. I'm going to lose the connection with the ribs and I'm going to hurt my lower back. So what we need to do is move into a braced position or an imprint position. So for that, if you bring both feet down, come into your neutral, pull your rib cage in, lift one leg up, and then pull the pelvis forward to push that lower back into the floor. You can see I've squashed the marshmallow under my back. Rib cage is down, everything is pulling down, like I'm pushing my ribs towards my pubic bone and my pubic bone towards my ribs, or my hips towards my ribs. Then I'm going to pick up the other leg. So you can see the difference in my spine. My belly looks a bit fuller because now my rectus abdominis, the middle six-pack muscles, are also working to push that spine into the floor so that when I come up, when I move that lever, my back isn't moving, it's protected, okay? So that's your imprint or your brace position. Closed kinetic, try and stay in neutral. It works your transversus, which is that corset. Coming open kinetic chain or your quasi-kinetic chain, then you can move into your imprint to protect your lower back. Okay, with that, let's move into the workout. So we're gonna come onto our back, feet on the mat, hip distance apart. So that's about 1.5 fist widths between the knees. Okay, make sure that your feet, your knees, and your hips are on the same line. So those ASIS will go straight through the middle of the knee joint, straight through the middle of the ankle, and straight through those middle two toes, okay? The ones next to where your flip-flops go. And we're gonna be lying on our back, find your nice neutral spine, take a minute to set yourself up properly, and let's get going. Okay, so on our back, feet hip distance, a nice gentle bend in the knees, pull those ribs down, find the connection with the pelvic floor, reach the hands towards the ceiling. Now turn the palms to face away from you. Your eye gaze is going to change with that traffic light, and then peel the head off the floor, roll the ribs towards the hips, and come up to your ab prep. Reach those fingertips away from you. Keep the head over the shoulders. Push up a little bit more and release. A little bit more and release. One more time and release, and then float the hands back up towards the ceiling. Eye gaze following it as you bring your head down. Now from here, we're going to come into a full roll up. So you can keep your feet bent like this, or you can extend them long and follow that eye gaze again. Eye gaze, traffic light changes, head lifts, roll the ribs towards the hips, and then continue to flex up using those lower abdominals and flex all the way up and over, stretching the body forward, and then stacking the spine up one vertebrae at a time. This time, we're going to pull the pelvis back so you get that posterior tilt. curl the ribs towards the hips and roll the spine down. Plant that lower back, middle back, upper back, and release back to your neutral. Now, if you do this with your knees bent, then as you curl up, you slide the heels away to give you that momentum to roll forward. Stack the spine up, sat nice and tall. Bend the knees in and roll yourself back down and slide the legs away as you come down onto the floor. Bring your hands in line with your body. I realize my mat is very close to the camera today. So we're going to slide our heels in close to the body to prepare for our glute bridges. So heels are in about 1 hand length away from the bum. Feet are and knees are in parallel and hip distance. Push that lower back into the floor. Squeeze the glutes and then peel the hips away from the floor, lengthening the knees away from the chest. So make sure you're not arching in that lower back. We're in an inclined neutral. Our shoulders are wide and pushed into the mat equally. Our collarbone is spread really nice and wide, and we're relaxed into that nice long glute bridge. We're going to take another deep inhale, and as we exhale, roll the spine back down onto the floor, 1 vertebrae at a time, and release back into that neutral. I'm trying to find the right angle here for you guys. Take another deep inhale, heels in close to the bum. Place the pelvis into that imprint, squeeze the glutes, roll the spine away from the floor, 1 vertebrae at a time, coming into that nice long neutral. Now you can have your palms facing the ceiling, your collarbone open wide, or you can reach up towards the ceiling. And from here, we're going to challenge that glute bridge by picking up the right foot to a tabletop and then placing it back down again, articulating through the joints of the feet. Pick the left foot up to tabletop and then place it back down. So your hips are not moving in this movement. Take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, roll the spine back down, 1 vertebrae at a time, releasing to your neutral, and we're going to do that roll up again. So either with your legs bent or straight. Take a deep inhale, eye gaze follows the hands, flex forward, continue that flexion to bring you all the way up and over. Stretch your fingers towards your feet, and then lengthen your spine all the way up. Bring your hands close to your hips, bend your feet in, and then push yourself forward so that your weight is on your feet. Come into a forward fold, and then roll the spine up 1 vertebrae at a time, all the way up to standing. From here, we're going to come up on the ball of the right foot and step it back into a lunge. From that lunge, bring your hands back behind your body, clasp your hands together, squeeze your shoulders down and back, straighten that front leg, keep the back leg straight, and begin to tilt the body forward, bringing your nose towards your shin. Breathing into those shoulders. Keep pushing that left heel down if you need to. You can turn the heel in just a little bit. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, use your back muscles to lengthen the body back up. 1 vertebrae at a time. Come back up to standing. Bend that right front leg. Release the hands. Reach up to your high lunge. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, hinge forward just a little bit. Transfer the weight to the left foot. Stand forward and rise up. Arms go out wide to the side. Inhale, reach the arms up. This time we're going to step back with the left foot. Come back into that high lunge. Pause here and then bring the hands back behind the body. Squeeze the palms together. Roll the shoulders down and back. Bring the heel in just a little bit so it's narrower than the toes. Straighten the front leg and hinge the body forward. Stretching the shoulders, stretching the hamstrings, stretching the adductors, finding a strong base of support in the feet. Bring your nose closer towards your knee. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, use your back and your belly to rise you back up. Bend that front knee, release the hands, come into your lunge. From here, pick up that heel, hinge forward, find that balance on that front leg. Come up to standing, arms out wide to the side. Nod the chin and begin to roll the spine down 1 vertebrae at a time, peeling it away from the imaginary wall behind you until you come all the way into your forward fold. From here, we're going to come onto our right side. So you're going to step your right knee back, bring your hands to the middle of the mat, and then open up into your right side to a side plank. Now, we're going to pull the left leg in, so we come in a full side plank, reach the hand towards the ceiling, and lift the top leg into a side leg abduction. Inhale here, then exhale, drop that foot back down, drop the knee, rotate back towards the center of the mat, drop the left knee, open to the other side, reach the hand up, find the connection with the abdominals, slide that leg back, get your support on the outside of your left foot, and open the right foot up, abduct the leg and hold. Stay here to breathe, inhaling and exhaling. And then close the foot in, lower the bottom knee, come back into center, bring both knees down onto the mat. Inhale to lengthen the spine into our cat stretch. Exhale to tuck it under into our cat. And then bring your hips back to heels, slides your hands back, and pull your feet out one after the other. So find your abdominals to push into the floor and slide the legs forward. Bring your body back down onto the mat using your abdominals. Hands reach up towards the ceiling. Bend your feet in, hip distance apart. Add curl ups again. Inhale, exhale, flex it up. Reach towards those heels. Find that head stacked on top of those shoulders. Inhale through the nose. Make sure your pelvis is in neutral. As you exhale, bring yourself back down. Hands reach back up towards the ceiling. Pull that ribcage down. Full roll up. Slide your legs away. Inhale, exhale, flex up, reach towards those toes, continue that flexion all the way, reaching. And inhale, stack the spine, coming up to our seated neutral. Exhale, curl the spine back, one vertebrae at a time, reaching those fingertips towards your toes, so your eye gaze is still following your fingers, and then release the spine into neutral. Bend your knees if you need to. Inhale, one more time. Exhale, flex it up. Slide the feet away to come all the way up and over. Inhale, stack the spine, shoulders come down. Exhale, curling all the way down, one vertebrae at a time. Hands towards the ceiling, connect the ribs, bring the hands down. Pull the heels in close to our bum. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, roll the spine away from the floor, push into the heels, come up to that nice glute bridge. Now this time we're going to peel the right foot off of the floor and come to tabletop. Kick that toe up towards the ceiling. Now we're going to slide the toe down the wall opposite us until our knees come in line with each other. You're going to open that leg out to shoulder distance and then sweep it back up towards the ceiling. Slide it down, open, pull it back up using your abdominals. Slide it down, open, bring it up. One more time. Slide it down, open, and back up to the top. Bend the knee, place the foot back on the floor, roll through the joints of the feet. Inhale, exhale, roll the spine back down onto the floor, releasing into neutral. Let's come up and do the other side. Inhale, exhale, roll the spine away from the floor, push into the heels, find that connection with the glutes. Inhale, pick up the left foot to tabletop, and then flick the toes up towards the ceiling. From here, drag the toes down the opposite wall till your knees are in line with each other. Open the leg to shoulder distance and then sweep it back up towards the ceiling. Drag it down, open, and sweep. So we're keeping the hips nice and still here. They're not shifting or twisting with the movement of that leg. And take an inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, place it down, rolling through the ball of the feet. Inhale, exhale, roll the spine down one vertebrae at a time. Slide the legs away, reach the hands up towards the ceiling. Inhale, exhale, roll up all the way. Flexing all the way up and over. Reach towards those toes. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Slide the hands in close to the hips. Bring the feet in and transfer the weight onto your feet. Come into a forward fold. Inhale in here. Exhale, roll yourself all the way up to standing. Stacking the spine one vertebrae at a time. Take a nice deep inhale. Lift up on the ball of the right foot. Exhale, step it back into your high lunge. Reach your hands up overhead. Find that nice, strong base of support. Squeeze the glutes and then reach those hands back behind you. Clasp the hands together. Pull the shoulders back. Pull the heel in just slightly. Straighten the front leg. Hinge the body forward. Knee to nose. And breathe. Find that nice stretch down the inside of the left thigh. Take another inhale as you exhale, bend the knee, begin to rise back up, hands behind you, unclasp the hands, bring yourself back to your lunge, pick up the heels so you're in parallel, hinge forward, then find that transfer of weight as you bring yourself back up to standing nice and tall, arms come down to the side. Inhale, reach the arms up, exhale, this time we're doing the left foot, come up on the ball of the left foot, find that transfer of weight, step back into your high lunge. Take a nice deep inhale into both sides of the waistline, then slightly turn that heel in, clasp the hands behind your back, squeeze those palms together, roll those shoulders down and back, straighten the front knee, hinge forward, nose to knee, and breathe. Breathe into the back of those shoulders and into the front of the chest, stretching those shoulders a little bit more, stretching the hamstring and the calf a little bit more. Then when you inhale, as you exhale, bend the knee, begin to rise up, unclasp the hands, rotate that leg back to your high lunge. Reach it up, hinge it forward, transfer the weight to that front leg as you fly forward, and then bring the feet back up to your standing and reach the arms out wide to the side. Come down, squat down really nice and low, bring your hands to the floor. Your right hand is in the middle of your mat. Your left foot comes back, right foot comes back, connect that knee, open the hips out to the side to your right side plank. Bring the bottom leg in to meet it, and then abduct the top leg. Stay here and breathe. Find that nice strong connection through the whole sideline of the body. Then lower that top leg, lower the bottom knee, rotate back into center, bring your left hand to the middle of the mat, left knee to the mat, open the hips out to the right side. Right leg is nice and long and strong, left leg comes in to meet it, and then open the right leg up. Stay and breathe. Inhale into that bottom waistline, keeping both sides of your waistline nice and long. Then lower the leg, bend the knee, rotate back into center, bring the knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders. Inhale, lengthen the spine away for your cow. Remember, cervical spine follows that thoracic spine. If you don't get much extension, then your head should only be here. Then as you exhale, curl the tail under, flex and look between the knees. Inhale into neutral, pull your knees in close to your hands, sit your hips back on your heels, hands come back, and then using your belly, pull the feet out. From here, we're going to bend the knees, bring the pelvis back, so you curl back, bring your hands to the back of your hamstrings, pick up your right leg, pick up your left leg to find your balanced pose. If that feels comfortable for you, glue those inner thighs together and then reach your hands to follow the line of the legs. If that feels good for you, you can straighten the legs, lift the arms a little into your teaser. Stay here and breathe, pulling the belly in, finding that nice strong balance in your teaser. And then when you're ready, bring your hands to the back of your knees. And we're going to roll the spine down onto the floor. From there, you're going to open the knees out laterally into a diamond shape. Okay? Now bring your hands up towards the ceiling. You're going to inhale. As you exhale, flex up, follow that eye gaze, and extend the legs to a long parallel line. Inhale, bend the knees, open back to the diamond, bring the head back down to the floor. Exhale, flex up, squeeze those inner thighs together, straighten the legs and reach them away from you. Inhale, back to your diamond, head back onto the floor. One more time, exhale, squeeze the inner thighs, reach those legs away. Inhale, back to your diamond, head back to the floor. Now from here, we're going to do double leg lifts. So you're going to bring your hands down in line with your thighs, straighten your toes up towards the ceiling, push your lower back into the floor in that braced position, point your toes, and you're going to slowly lower your toes away from the ceiling, and then slowly pull them back up. Exhaling, slowly lower them away, keeping that lower back connected with the floor. Inhaling, pulling them all the way up. Nice and relaxed here. Exhale, lengthening away, keeping those shoulders connected with the floor. Inhaling, pulling them back up. If you need to, you can open your arms out to the side. And inhale, picking them back up. Bend both feet, bring them down to the floor and roll over to your right side. push yourself up. We're going to bring our hand underneath the shoulder, our knee underneath the hip, back into that side plank pose. But we're going to keep the knee down and we're going to lift that top leg up. We're going to kick the leg forward and then bring it back. Kick the leg forward and bring it back. Kick it forward and back. Kick it forward. So my pelvis is not moving with this leg kick. My hand is directly under my shoulder, so I've got a strong base of support, and my belly's pulled in. Kick it forward. Reach it back. One more time. Kick it forward. This time, place it down on the floor. Bend the knee. Transfer the weight. And then you're going to bring your hands in front of you and begin to drop that knee in front to come into a pigeon pose. So you're in like a pigeon pose, a figure four stretch. From here, just breathe. And then uncurl your back foot to lift that leg up. And you're going to come onto your left side kneeling now. So bring the hand under the shoulder, slide that knee back, lift that top leg up. Make sure your fingertips are spread nice and wide. Pull the belly in. Reach the hand up towards the ceiling or keep it on your belly. You're going to kick it forward and kick it back. So you can see my belly is working really hard to keep my torso nice and still. I'm not flexing or extending in that body. And if you can't make the movement without moving the torso, make the movement smaller or just keep it there. Just keep it still at hip height. Flex it in. Use the glute to pull it back. Abdominals and hip flexors to pull it forward. Bring it back. Pull it forward. And then from there, drop it down to the floor. And then bring your knee, drop it to the floor, slide the foot over, and bring the knee down to the floor. Slide that left leg back into your pigeon pose. You're seated, so figure four. Stay here and breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And then from there, you're just going to rock your hips open so you come seated on your bum. Swing your feet around and come onto your back. And you're going to bring the knees up to tabletop and then extend them both up to the ceiling. Reach your hands up towards the ceiling. Inhale, exhale, flex up. Grab onto the back of your right leg and pull your right leg towards your face as you reach the left leg away. Swap. And swap. So we're getting a nice stretch in the hamstring while we're working the abdominals to keep that torso lifted. Reaching the one leg away, stretching through the front of the hip, pulling the other leg in, stretching through the back of the thigh. Keeping those legs in parallel the whole time, reaching and stretching. One more time. And then both legs up towards the ceiling and relax the head and shoulders. Bring the feet down to the mat. From here, we're going to slide the right toe away from us, nice and straight. Then laterally rotate that foot. So toe goes out, heel in, and keeping the knee as close to the floor as you can, slide that foot back in. Close the knee in, reverse direction. Open the knee out to the side. Slide the foot away, sliding down the outside edge of the foot, keeping our pelvis nice and still. Rotate the leg parallel so the kneecap faces the ceiling and slide it back in. Other leg. Slide the left toe away from your bum. Kneecap facing the ceiling. Then rotate the kneecap out towards the side. Heel into the midline of the body. Drag the heel up the midline of the body. Close the knees in together. Open the knee out to the side. Slide the foot away on the outside edge of that foot. Roll the kneecap back to face the ceiling. Slide the heel in. Now pull both heels in close to the bum. Inhale, exhale, roll the spine away from the floor. Come up into that nice long glute bridge. Stay here and breathe. Then reach the hands up towards the ceiling. Pull those shoulders down and back. We're going to challenge our multifidus here and our obliques. You're going to reach the right hand overhead and the left hand towards your left hip. And then exhaling, switch. Scissor the hands past each other, just like we did with the legs. And switch. And one more time, switch. And both hands up towards the ceiling. Inhale, exhale, roll the spine down, keeping those hands reaching for the ceiling. Release all the way to your neutral. Bring your feet in towards each other. Connect the inner thighs, connect the inner arches of the feet. Hands are down by your sides. Then open your palms up facing towards the ceiling and out away from the body about 40 degrees. From there, allow the knees to drop out to the sides, kissing the soles of the feet together, and allow the knees to be heavy. Try and keep the pelvis in neutral, keep pulling the ribs down towards the hips. And just stay here and breathe in through the nose. And make a really loud, long, strong exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. One more time. In through the nose. And exhale. From there, close the left knee in towards the right. Roll over to the right side of the body. Pull the knees into the chest. Hand on the floor in front of you. Take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, push yourself up to seated. And you are done. So a little bit different. Sometimes it's good to look through the recovery day videos before you do them, because a lot of the exercises can be very different to our normal gym exercises, and we might not be that familiar with them. But they're really good for your body, and the reason why we do a bit of yoga and a bit of Pilates and some deeper stretches on our recovery days is to give our body time to get strong in those stabilizing muscles and to help speed up the recovery process, to get the lactic acid moving through those muscles and breaking up so that we can recover faster and get stronger and leaner. So I hope you enjoyed that today, and I will see